Objective: to understand the key events and theological truths of Genesis, the foundation of the Bible, and see how it points to God's plan for humanity. Introduction to Genesis. Meaning of Genesis: beginning or origin. Author: traditionally attributed to Moses. Themes: creation, fall of man, covenant, God's sovereignty, and promise. Read. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Reflection. Why is it important that the Bible starts with God as the creator? Creation to the fall, Genesis 1-3. Genesis 1-2, creation. Days of creation: day 1, light; day 2, sky and sea; day 3, land and vegetation; day 4, sun, moon, stars; day 5, birds and sea creatures; day 6, land, animals, and humans, Adam and Eve; day 7, God rested. Read Genesis 1:26-27. Humanity is made in God's image. This gives every person inherent worth. Genesis 3, the fall. Serpent tempts Eve. Adam and Eve disobey God. Sin enters the world: shame, separation, curse. First promise of redemption, Genesis 3:15. He will crush your head. Discussion. What does being made in God's image mean for us today? How does Genesis 3 shape our understanding of sin and grace? Early humanity, Genesis 4-11. Cain and Abel, Genesis 4. First murder, sin escalates. God still shows mercy, marks Cain for protection. Genealogies and wickedness, Genesis 5-6. Lifespans and line from Adam to Noah. Humanity becomes corrupt. God regrets creating them. The flood, Genesis 6-9. Noah, the ark, animals preserved. Global flood wipes out humanity. Covenant with Noah, rainbow as sign. Read Genesis 9:11-13. God promises never to flood the earth again. Tower of Babel, Genesis 11. Human pride leads to building a tower to the heavens. God confuses languages, disperses people. Reflection. What does the flood show us about God's justice and mercy? How do we see pride at work in the Tower of Babel? Patriarchs: Abraham to Joseph, Genesis 12-50. Abraham, Genesis 12-25. God calls Abram, Gen 12, promises land, descendants, blessing. Covenant, Gen 15-17. Circumcision as sign, tested with Isaac, Gen 22. Wife, Sarah; sons, Ishmael through Hagar, Isaac through Sarah. Read Genesis 12:1-3. God's promise to bless all nations through Abraham. Isaac, Genesis 24-27. Marries Rebekah. Sons, Esau and Jacob, deceived by Jacob for blessing. Jacob, Genesis 28-36. Dreams of a ladder to heaven, Gen 28. Wrestles with God, renamed Israel, Gen 32. Has 12 sons, future tribes of Israel. Joseph, Genesis 37-50. Sold by brothers, rises to power in Egypt. Interprets dreams, saves Egypt from famine. Reunites with brothers, forgives them. Read Genesis 50:20. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Discussion. What do we learn from the lives of the patriarchs? How do they show God's faithfulness despite human failure? Wrap up and application. Major takeaways from Genesis: God is creator and sovereign. Sin affects all, but God provides redemption. God's covenant is central to his plan. Faith and obedience matter. Abraham, Noah, Joseph. God works through flawed people to fulfill his purpose. Personal reflection. How do you see God's hand in the brokenness of your own life? Where is he calling you to trust him, like Abraham or Joseph? Optional closing prayer. Father, thank you for showing us your power, your mercy, and your promises through Genesis. Help us trust you more deeply and walk in faith like those who came before us. In Jesus' name, amen.